Dear viewers, welcome back to this another episode of the Shillong Reading Room. Today we're very fortunate to have among us Bankerlang Kharmylliem, who is an assistant professor in the Shillong Commerce College. So Bankerlang Kharmylliem is assistant professor of sociology at Shillong Commerce College in Meghalaya, India. He earned his master's degree in development studies and completed his PhD both at the Indian Institute of Technology IIT Guwahati. His range of interests spans urban studies, water governance, among others. He is particularly interested in exploring the interrelation between urbanism and lived experiences. And Bankerlang today will be discussing about this book of his. It's called Understanding Social Sustainability in a Hill Town, Water Governance in Shillong. And this particular episode today is very, very significant for us because this is the first time we are collaborating with another institution. In this case, it is SOAS, University of London, as part of their project on water conflict. So Bankerlang, thank you so much for joining us in this program today. Apart from the bio that I have read just now, is there something more you would like to add and tell our viewers about yourself?
Thank you, Bhakto, for having me. It's a great pleasure to be with you in your program. Besides what you've read, I'm also currently a research consultant at the National Law University, working under a project, as you mentioned, of SOAS, University of London. So yeah, I'm engaged in the teaching profession and engaged in research in a number of ways. Still working on water, even till today.
Okay. Yeah, that is very interesting because I think nowadays, we know that many teachers, many professors who are teaching and doing research, but they also are engaged in many other projects, right? This thing I have seen becoming quite the trend right now. Are you the only person in your department who does this, or there are other people also who are doing it, as far as you know?
As far as I know, I'm the only one, because our college system here, it's not very conducive for research. It's not very research oriented, our education system here in Shillong, and we have to change that. Okay. And the world is demanding that from us also, especially from our state.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's very, very, very important. I think this is something maybe others also who listen to this program can also think about it, because you have to do research, you have to collaborate with institutions, especially international institutions, right?
Yes.
That is very, very important.
Very important indeed.
Now coming back to your book, this book, Understanding Social Sustainability in a Hill Town. Can you tell us, how did the idea or the thought of coming up with a book occur to you? Why did you come up with this book actually?
Well, I can say it all started maybe around 2013 when I was doing my master's degree in development studies, and development studies being a multidisciplinary program. And somehow I developed an interest, first of all, for sustainable development, sustainability studies. And then it went on to the stage where I had to choose a topic for my master's dissertation. And then, interestingly enough, I chose water to see the connection between sustainability and water. And I chose a topic called the sustainable city. I was looking at domestic water supply in Shillong. And yeah, I think I chose my own backyard because my experience, water experiences that I see, that I experience for myself, I wanted to understand that. And maybe a part of me also wanted to be part of the solution, because, research, one of the aims of research is to solve problems, make the world a better place. So somehow I think I've contributed a little bit in that aspect.
Yeah, very much, because when I read your book, I do learn a lot out from it. We'll talk about what you found in your book, the findings, But before we come to that, because we'll just talk about the concept, which is a framework for the book you have written, right? Social sustainability.
Sure.
So what is social sustainability? We have heard about sustainable development, but what is the social sustainability?
Social sustainability is, as we know, sustainable development has got 3 dimensions. We've got the economic, the social, and the environmental. So when you ask a commoner, anyone, what is sustainable development, the first thing that they would think about is, the environment, planting trees and taking care of our rivers and so on and so forth. And the second thing, they'll think about economic development. But they seldom think about the social aspect of sustainable development. And in my book, I mentioned that, it is the least studied. It is kind of an ignored dimension of sustainable development. And that's why one of the reasons why I developed an interest in social sustainability. And social sustainability as a concept is, I can say, the ability of societies and communities to to contribute to well-being of
Okay.
people and communities, and sustainable well-being, human development, and so on and so forth. And for me to let me just name a few concepts, indicators that are associated with social sustainability so that we can understand it. We have concepts like governance,
Okay.
equity, social justice, sense of place, sense of belonging, happiness, poverty, social capital, social cohesion. So all of these things, they come together under we can say, the umbrella of social sustainability. So yeah, I mean, these themes are expanding as we are speaking right now. So there's no clear
It's still
cut
growing.
definition. Yes.
And how does water fit into all this?
It's because, see, let me just say first that water access is very closely related to social relations.
Okay.
You know, people determine, people are the ones who determine social water accessibility, water availability, and so on and so forth. So yes, water is a very, very important issue, very, very important aspect, and water itself being a social good, if I can say that, besides being an economic resource and environmental resource, it's a social good. So if we think of water and society, we talk about what we call as the hydro-social cycle.
Okay.
You see, we never realize that water flows through societies. It flows through us, through our families, through our institutions, through our social structures. But we seldom take notice about that. And that is how it shapes societies, it shapes cultures, and in turn, it is being shaped by all those social aspects.
Okay.
So that is the interesting relationship. And of course, we know water being a basic need.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we ignore water and we say, and we give priority to other things, then we're making a big mistake.
Yeah. You'd also talk about well-being, right? And can you have human well-being without water?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So I mean, in that
very
way,
obvious.
it's very obvious, right? That it's a so important part, no? Water is such an important part of sustainability. So sustainability in this context. And you talk about water. In the case of Meghalaya, we have so much rainfall. I mean, one of the highest rainfall region in the world, not just in the country, in the world. But despite that, you have written in your book, that many habitations, many villages remain partially covered or not covered at all for drinking water supply. So you have huge amount of water resources, but amidst all of that, there is also water scarcity. How do you explain this paradox?
Yes, it is the wettest state in the country, one of the wettest places in the world, in fact. But the thing is that availability does not abundance of water does not translate into access. That's the thing. Because if you have access here and availability here, there's a gap here.
Okay.
And this is the gap that we have to close it. We've got issues like governance issues, infrastructure issues, and funding, and so on and so forth.
And I think all these issues you have talked about in your book as well, right? Because we will come to that also as well. But before we come to the main findings, there's also one more point that you made in the book, which I'm going to talk about, which I want to know from you, is that according to you, Meghalaya has no formal legal entity designated as the custodian of water resources, and no specific law clearly defining ownership and rights over water sources. What do you mean by that? Do you mean to say that in Meghalaya we are in a very confusing situation? We really don't know who owns the water resources, what responsibility, what agency has. What do you mean by this statement in your book?
Okay, so Bhakto, first of all, I can say that we don't have clearly defined formal law.
Okay.
Such one that defines, water rights. What are these water rights? But we have in our traditional system, especially our governance system with the Dorbar, Shnongs, and so on, the system is revolved in such a way that it is revolved around values, values that are directly associated with water rights, values like fairness and equity and justice and caring for one another and making sure that, water is available for all within the community. So we have that. But yes, in this day and age, with all the complexities that are arising, we do need formal recognition. For example, even for the Dorbar Shnongs, and even we have to water rights, like you mentioned, who owns the water. The water beneath my feet, who owns that? Do I own it, or do all of us own it? It's just not clearly spelled out in our state, and that's a big issue. And I think there is a groundwater bill that is being worked out right now. So I hope that will help in the coming future.
Okay, so basically right now we are still in a very grey zone, because traditionally we do have customary norms, customary rules of how water access should be determined, right? But in terms of the formal laws, you do see there's a gap out there. There's a groundwater bill which is going to come up, but not really there right now. But also I think, what about the draft bill on Water Act, right? There was also the draft bill on water, right? Water policy, the water policy. So what do you think is the gap in that?
The gap in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it clearly has many of the contents that are needed, but the gap is that, for example, you don't have a clear framework that puts together groundwater, surface water, water provisioning, water supply. There's no such thing that puts these all together so that we can clearly see it and use it and and look at it. And another thing is the implementation aspect.
Okay.
So we say this and that, we have to involve the Dorbar Shnongs, we have to do this and that. For example, the Meghalaya water policy, it's there. It's a very important document, I believe, but it's the implementation part that is lacking.
It's lacking. So when you talk about the implementation part, right? But right now, in Shillong, you do have the water supply infrastructure, right? So can you please tell us something about how are they functioning, the water supply infrastructure in Shillong, around Shillong, no? Who are the agencies involved in it, no? How do they coordinate with each other? Because you have talked about this in your book as well.
Yes, water supply in Shillong basically has three main agencies. We have the Shillong Municipal Board that supplies water in the municipal area. And of course, we have the PHED, Public Health and Engineering Department. And we have the Shnongs, the Dorbar Shnongs. And we also have, if I can add a number 4 to that, private players, informal private players, water vendors, even those using push carts and so on. So we can include them within the water network, water provisioning network. So we have those. And what I've discovered in my research and what I mentioned in my book is that why did I compare the municipal and the non-municipal area? It's clearly because of I found out this main thing. In the municipal area, you already have a system. I mean, we still have infrastructure from the British era that's still functioning right now. A system is already there in place and infrastructure is there. And the municipal, it's like complementary to the Dorbar Shnongs are like complementary to the Shillong Municipal Board. And of course, we have population density and the water networks also are more dense here. So we have better water supply in the municipal area. But when you come outside, it's a different story. You have smaller water systems managed by the Dorbar Shnongs, managed by private players, and you have the PHED and so on and so forth. So in the municipal area, you have that kind of, more organized. And outside the municipal area, you have something, if I can say that, it's more community-centric. Where the community has a lot of role to play in ensuring water supply for its residents.
And I think you have mentioned so much about Dorbar Shnong, right? Again and again in our interaction, we have been talking about how the Dorbar Shnong is involved in water governance. Can you tell our viewers who may not be from Meghalaya, what is a Dorbar Shnong and how does it function?
Okay. So Dorbar Shnong is basically this age-old institutions of the Khasis, grassroots traditional institutions. I think the genesis began when we realized that we need a governance system, and that's how they started. And they are still there today. And they started, of course, in the rural areas. And what I see is this sudden transition with urbanization. And it seems like these Dorbar Shnongs are unprepared for this, for modernization and so on and so forth. But still, they adapt. Many of them, they do a good job at that, adapting. And that adaptation, how they adapt, translates into how good or how bad water supply is in those particular localities. And Dorbar Shnongs are institutions that are community-centric, community-run, highly valued by the community, highly respected by the people, and they have a lot of legitimacy, and people trust them. They trust them a lot. And they realize also that we need them. I mean, Bhakto, I cannot imagine water supply, without the Dorbar Shnongs. It will be a very different, a different situation altogether. You take out the Dorbar Shnongs, then I think there will be a water crisis in our city.
So how does the Dorbar Shnong and the municipal relate to each other? How does it function? Because you also have the municipal, which is also an institution out there. It has its manpower, it has its own mandate, and then you have the Dorbar Shnong, right? How do they complement each other?
Yeah, it has always been like that. The government cannot do everything on its own. It always ropes in the Dorbar Shnongs for its many schemes, its many programs. And when it comes to water supply, it's also the same thing. Maybe they lack manpower, they lack capacity, and maybe even it's good in some ways. We get to involve the community in it, give them a voice. So because the Dorbar Shnongs are closest to the people, they are closest to the whatever is happening at the local level. So they do work together, hand in hand, together with the Shillong Municipal Board and also with the Public Health and Engineering Department also.
Okay. So because in your book, you have also talked about in terms of certain localities under the Shillong Municipal Board and how the Dorbar Shnong out there has been functioning. Can you please tell our viewers about that research of yours? What did you find? How the Dorbar Shnong functions within the municipal board in terms of water governance?
Okay. If I have to answer that, I'll have to compare municipal and non-municipal.
Yes, let's do that. Yes, yes.
So in the municipal, as I've mentioned earlier, system is already there. So the roles, functions, responsibilities are comparatively lesser in degree and form compared to the non-municipal area. But yes, they are still there. We still need them. For example, they give no objection certificates. We need that. They are the ones who check, especially during the lean season. The Dorbar Shnongs are the ones who take care that to ensure that somehow water is being supplied, and then they secure funding for infrastructure repair and so on and so forth. Yeah, so those are some of the things that
even when they are inside the municipal also, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What about when you are outside the municipal? How strong is the role then when you're outside the municipal?
Yes, the role is more responsibility for them. For example, you have these localities that are situated on the foothills. So you'll have water sources there. And these water sources are tapped. And it is the Dorbar Shnongs that have to manage that whole water system. So the PHED comes in, or the municipal comes in, and they say, we'll give you the infrastructure, we'll lay the pipes for you, but you do the management part.
Okay.
So that's it. And then you have these other small water systems that are privately run and so on and so forth. And for example, Dorbar Shnongs, they take care of community forests. They ensure that, for example, some Dorbar Shnongs, they prohibit drilling of bore wells and so on. So they have these rules and regulations that are context based. Each locality, even within Shillong, they have their own rules and regulations. And it depends on the institutional capacity to oversee how closely they are being followed by their residents.
So which means, let's say, if the municipal or the PHED, they want to bring in a water supply system into that locality, they want to lay pipes, they want to look for some source. If the source lies within the area of the Dorbar Shnong, they have to go to the Dorbar Shnong, or they have to get NOC from the Dorbar Shnong to lay those pipes. Is that correct?
Yeah, in some way it is true, because they have to work together. Even though, there's no formal recognition, the authority of the Dorbar Shnongs, but still a lot of legitimacy is there, socially. So they are respected in that way. And yes, they do closely work together. And as I've said, they do the groundwork, they do the initial work, and then they hand over. There are certain localities, in fact, they are doing a very good job where the whole project itself is handed over to them.
I think Lao So Tun is the locality
Yes,
you're talking
Lao So
about.
Tun
Can you
is
tell
one
us
of
the
them.
viewers about this experience in Lao So Tun? How do they work? That they have done so well that the municipal, right, has handed over the whole system to them, right?
Yeah.
Can you please tell us about that?
Yes, in Lao So Tun, it's the Dorbar Shnong that is practicing good governance. It's very organized in in many ways. And if you compare it with, in my book, I compared it with the Maupat.
Mopat, yes.
Yes, I compared it with Maupat so that it'll be clear to see the differences, how one, how one performs and why one does not, why one underperforms. So Maupat underperforms because it is overwhelmed with migration. A lot of people coming into Maupat and this and that. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to this. It is the Dorbar Shnong itself, the office bearers, the members, whether they have the will, they have the capacity to work for the community to do. Otherwise, and there's a system also that checks how they perform, how one performs, and yeah, so that's it.
Because I think in Nongra, which is also part of your book, you talked about another issue is that they are not doing work very well because also of the clan dominance. Like there is a Pungrup clan out there, right, who dominate the water supply in the village, right, and that's why they can decide who to give, who not to give, right. I think, did you find another example like that in your work apart from Maupat?
Apart from
Maupat, in terms of the clan dominance, no?
Okay, the Maupat is there.
Sorry, Nongra.
Nongra, yes.
Yeah.
Even in Maupat, there's a little bit of clan influence.
Okay.
Yeah. There are some other localities also like Nong Kriem.
Nong Kriem, yeah.
But it works very differently. There's clan dominance in Nong Kriem, but clan dominance works in such a way that it works for the betterment of the people.
Okay.
Clan land is given for free, water is given for free, it's not being sold at all. And it's even shared with other localities, unlike Nongra.
Nongra, yeah.
Yeah, where clan dominance is having a negative impact.
Okay.
So just imagine, there's no pipe water supply in Nongra. Up till this
now.
moment that we are speaking also. There are, of course, private water connections, and of course, it's the clan members that are
benefiting from it.
Benefiting from that.
Because in your book, you talked about some of the issues which is plaguing the Dorbar Shnong. Lack of inclusivity, where there are certain clans who dominate the proceedings, right? That's very important. But so it's very interesting to see that in Nongra, it's been negative influence. But in Nong Kriem, it is not a negative influence. So it appears to me that because there is no set formal rules of how governance should happen, so every village, every locality is different from each other.
Yes.
So how do we bring about some kind of, let's say, common way of governance when you have a situation like this?
I think uniformity has to be there, but maybe at a higher level there has to be some set of uniform rules, and then at another lower level, I don't believe that we can have the same set of rules because as I've said, it's very context specific. So for example, we talk about water rights, or we talk about who owns water, how much power should the Dorbar Shnongs, what kind of influence can the clans have, and so on and so forth. We need those at a higher level, and at a lower level, the Dorbar Shnongs themselves can decide what is right, what is good, what is better.
I understand you correctly, you're still very much supporting the idea of Dorbar Shnong, that they should be involved in all of this, but at the same time you also have written out here that there are some issues which is plaguing them, like the influence of certain clans in some areas. What are the other issues do you think the Dorbar Shnong can look to work upon so that they can improve the water governance in their own areas?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can be done. One of them, I believe, is capacity building. Yes, because these office bearers and Dorbar Shnongs, they are, general common people. Of course, they can have experts that are members there, but usually they are not. And especially, it's very interesting, with urbanization, I see people becoming more and more disinterested with the Dorbar Shnongs. It's like, okay, Dorbar Shnong is there, okay, it'll work for me, but I will be here. I don't want to get involved. So it's a common general thing that we see around the world. This disinterestedness, this passivity that we have towards, others than outside my family, outside my realm. Yeah, that's another thing. And another one is, I think coordination is very, very important. I learn from you, you learn from me, and Dorbar Shnongs have to work closely together because water has no boundaries. And that is one of the cases that I saw in Madanriting, with one of the villages upstream there. So there's a kind of a tussle over a river, who gets that water, so on and so forth. So those kind of conflicts do exist, and of course for conflict management, so it's very important to have uniformity of rules.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Okay, so how does all of this, a Dorbar Shnong which is very powerful on the ground, but in some cases may not be functioning as they should in terms of providing, let's say, good governance of water, how does it affect water access? Because your book also is about access, right? And you did find that there were also differences in terms of access, whether in terms of gender, whether in terms of, let's say, season, whether in terms of communities or social groups. Can you tell us something about from your own book, what did you find in terms of access, water access in your research?
Yeah, that thing that you mentioned creates this whole array of uneven water supply, unreliable water supply. Why does this locality next to me have, good access to water supply, but here we do not? The Dorbar Shnongs have a lot of say in that, have a lot of role in the outcome of who gets water, how much, when, and yeah. So it all boils down to this. Dorbar Shnongs, as I've said earlier, are very, very crucial, very, very important at the grassroots level, and we cannot just say that it's the government's duty, the government's job to cater to us. We have to understand. People also have to understand that it is the Dorbar Shnongs are community institutions that are there for us, and that we have to work together with them. Us for them and them for us.
Are there some communities that you found in your study who have been disadvantaged because of the fact that they belong to a certain community in terms of water access? Have you found some cases like that in this book?
Yes, I have. In fact, there are certain, for example, lower income households. They are the ones who suffer. They are the ones who struggle with lack of water supply, because they are the ones who will have to share, for example, a public standpipe. They are the ones who have to stand in line. They are the ones who will have to spend a higher percentage of their income in buying water. And they are the ones, for example, I have a number of stories, a number of cases in my book that I've mentioned. I'll just mention one to you.
Yes.
For example, there's a woman in Maoyong. Okay, her husband passed away. She has young children, and she says that she cannot collect water early in the morning. They have to get ready for school, so on and so forth. They cannot stand in line. And when it's the holidays or it's the rainy season, they cannot go because they have to collect water from a spring, and it's dangerous, it's slippery, and so on and so forth. So we have these kinds of problems. And another lady who lives in Nora told me, she said that she'll have to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning, just to go and collect water, because she's a daily
wage laborer. Yeah.
Wage laborer, yes. So she'll have to get to work at 7 a.m. So I get up at 4 a.m. to collect water. So we have all these different water experiences that people face in the city that we have to know more. We have to realize more that, because water supply, as I've said, it's very unevenly distributed in Shillong. And
very interestingly, you also talk about these two women, right, from low income background, and these are women. So did you see that the effect of lack of water access maybe impacts women more than men when you found in your own study?
Yes, that is a global reality, and I cannot comment more on water, how it being a gendered issue, but from my research I can say this, at least for Shillong, at the family level, because women are the ones who take care of household responsibilities. They cook, they wash, and so on and so forth. So if there's no water or less water, or the quality of water is not good enough, then the responsibility is on them. They feel stressful, they feel burdened by all of that. Yes, doctor, so that's it. And not only women also. For example, just last week I spoke with one man who lives in Maulai. He told me that Maulai, they have their own water scheme, okay, from this Soalang River. He told me that the water is not potable. We don't dare to use the water, he said.
Okay.
For example, he said that we don't wash it in it, we don't cook with it. The thing that we do with it is water our gardens, for example, or maybe, and he said that maybe I'll soak my clothes there, but I'll go to the river to rinse my clothes. So that is the situation that they are facing in certain pockets of Maulai. Water quality is another big issue, not just quantity.
Because for my own study, which I did like many years ago, in Sora, I found that people would collect water from the tap for washing clothes, washing utensils, but drinking water they will never collect from the taps.
Yes.
They'll go to the spring very far away, right? But so water quality was a big issue in the villages as well. What about here in Shillong? Did you find that in all the localities they had water issues, or there were some localities where the water quality was better?
Water quality, I can say it's better in the municipal area.
Okay.
Especially those localities that are being fed with spring water from that Shillong Peak Range and so on and so forth. But I've just come to realize a few months ago is that water is, if I can say, it's pure water.
Okay.
Spring water that people cherish. People, even the taste also, it's very different. But nowadays, because of growing population and so on, the PhD has come in, even in the municipal area.
Okay.
And there is this mixing of water, the spring water, and you mix it with the water that comes from Mau Plang, the dammed water.
The dammed water.
Yeah, so we don't get pure water anymore. So it's very important that we keep them intact. These purely spring supplied water systems, at least wherever they are available right now, and maybe supplement water from the PhD in another way, using another method, finding another means of doing it.
But not mix them together.
Yes,
mix them.
Yes, because spring water is the idea of water purity, the taste, it's very much culturally embedded within Khasi culture. And we have a very close connection with water. So if we say that, we always talk about Shing Yar, so on and so forth, and how much we value it. So it's very, very important, I believe, that to protect the catchment areas and to protect that water that's being supplied as it is.
And in there, Lausutun becomes so important because Lausutun also has made rules to protect the forests around the area, right?
Yes.
Which is not done by other villages, right?
Yeah.
Other localities.
Yes. Lausutun is very unique in that way, and we have Madanruting also, which does that. It has its own springs within the locality itself. So, I mean, it has no choice. It has to protect it because those springs in Madanruting are the only sources of water supply for the whole locality. And it's very, very wonderful to see how they are managing those springs and how, making it available for everyone, sharing it with everyone in the locality. Till now, I'm not sure, but when I was interviewing them a few years ago, there's no PhD supplied water in Madanruting as yet.
So it's their own water supply from the Shillong?
Mostly in their own.
Okay, this is very interesting because it seems that there is no, let's say, local government is not there, but it's a local community which is taken upon themselves to supply water.
Yes, it's mostly them.
But
I believe that now PhD has come in. Yeah.
Okay, so in that, and coming back to the issue of women, right? Because you talked about, men also are facing issue, but the stories talk about how the women wake up in the morning because they have the household duty. And the curious thing is that in the Dorbar now, women are not allowed to take part in it, right? So women are the one who are suffering because of lack of water access, quality and quantity, and then in the Khasi Dorbar, women are not allowed to take part. Do you think there's a connection in here? Why some Dorbar may not be doing so well? Because maybe the women are not part of the Dorbar. Would you agree with that kind of analysis?
Let me just mention Nong Cream again.
Okay.
Nong Cream is doing well. According to them, there's a water committee and there are women members in that committee. Yeah, they are doing well. So there's that connection, but I cannot generalize or make a connection for everyone else that women has to be there and then water supply will be better. But then this whole framework, the Dorbar Shnong, this whole framework, and then we have this other kind of framework with water rights and associated with all these aspects like equality and all. So, and you have this global framework that is influencing us, the Dorbar Shnongs, Khasi community, and the pressure at the same time to include women, participation, and so on and so forth. And it's happening a little bit, especially in urban areas. Women are allowed to even contest for the position of Rangba Shnong. Some women are allowed to vote in certain localities. So change is happening. But I cannot say how that will affect water. All I can say is that the non-cream case that I told you, women members are in the water committee.
Okay, so we have issues with Dorbar, but some Dorbar have done very, very well. In some areas, it is the Dorbar which is supplying water to the community, not the PhD, not the municipal. So it does seem Dorbar is going to be here for a long time. It's going to remain. At the same time, in your book, also you talked about how there is ambiguity in terms of whether Dorbar are formally recognized or not. What is your personal opinion in that, about it? Do you believe Dorbar is a legal entity recognized under the state law, or it is not a legal entity? Informally, it is very, very powerful, but formally, it doesn't have an existence. What is your opinion on that?
Yes, that's a gray area. As I said, there's a lot of legitimacy associated around Dorbar Shnongs. They have authority, they have power. When it comes to formal recognition, I'm not sure about that. But they have this connection that they have with the district councils, which is very, very important. It's where they derive their authority from. So somehow there is legitimacy in that when you look at that connection. But then again, it's not very clear in black and white. What kind of relationship does Dorbar Shnongs have with, for example, here with the KHADC? If in my interviews with them, many of the Shnongs, it's like they have an animosity towards the KHADC. Maybe, I don't know for whatever reasons, but there's that. But I believe they should work closely together. More clearly defined rules should be there. Because after all, like you said, Dorbar Shnongs are here to stay for a very, very long time.
And the issue also here about commodification of water, right? I think we're coming to the end of the interview, but this aspect you said, no, you have three, the PhD, Dorbar Shnong, and the municipal. And you said, I want to add another fourth one, which is the water tankers, no? This is private water supply. Have you seen a growth in private water supply through tankers, no? Like in Shillong over the last few years as part of your research?
Yes. Similar to other hill towns, hill cities, Himalayan hill cities, it's the same situation here. The number of tankers is growing, informal water supply is growing. When I came here, I saw 2 tankers supplying water to houses in Maulai Port Maori.
Okay.
Yeah, so in this season, unexpectedly, I see that. So yes, so it translates, it points towards the water situation, the water scenario that is happening, that is playing out right now in our city. So, which is not a healthy sign at all, which should not be happening. As I've said, it affects the poor mostly, and tenants, especially tenants, because one household, one holding will get one connection. Tenants will have to fend for themselves if, for example, the landowner doesn't look after the water needs of the tenants.
Yeah, I mean, so if you, let's say, if I ask you, can you give a suggestion to the Dorbar Shnong in terms of how they can improve their functioning in terms of water governance, based on your research, what are those suggestions you would like to give them, for example?
Work closely with the government, because of course we need each other, close collaboration. Work closely with the people, give voice to everyone. There has to be close participation, close monitoring. There has to be transparency, and there has to be accountability, which is very, very important, which is lacking.
Okay.
It's very lacking, because if they are not formally recognized, then I'm not accountable to anyone. And maybe this thought has crossed my mind that what if these office bearers in Dorbar Shnongs, what if they get some kind of financial remuneration? Will they perform better? I don't know. It's just an idea that I've been thinking about.
I think because some time ago, last year, there was a gathering, a conference of the Dorbar Shnongs, right, in Polo. they were talking about how the Shnong, the Dorbar and the Dorbar Shnong, people who are working for the Dorbar Shnong, I think executive member should be getting some remuneration.
Okay.
Right? They were talking about it. My issue only is this: if you're going to get the money from the government for your functioning, which I think you can get, if you don't include women,
Yes.
don't include all the residents, Khasi, non-Khasi, should the government be supporting an institution which is not democratic completely? So my concern is that if you do that, then you should get the money because they are working very, very hard. But unless you become inclusive, I think it's going to be a bit tricky because then they can become a place where you get the money, you do the work, and then you also become privileged, because now you're getting money, you're getting something out of it.
Yes,
That is my fear of it. What do you think about that?
Yes, inclusivity is very, very important. I mean, there are certain localities in Shillong where only Rangba Shnong and secretary and a few people, members, executive committee members are Khasis. All the residents, 90% of them are non-Khasis. So you have situations like that. So how do we include them? How do we have these systems of, checking and giving them a voice? But we also have to remember at the end of the day is that Dorbar Shnongs are very Khasi. The concept itself is very, Khasi centric. Yes, it's us, it's maybe Khasis who realize, who clearly understands this. But of course, we can always, manage to bring others also into the fore, and because that's urbanization.
Yeah, because maybe you don't include them in the, let's say, the general meeting, but there can be a committee of them where the concern is being voiced, not through some representative.
Yes.
Right? Because how can the government give money to an institution which isn't following democratic norms, right? Inclusion and all those things. Because that is also I think the Sixth Schedule Amendment Bill, which is being, I think they are trying to amend the Sixth Schedule for more resources to the district councils. But there's also provision out there that you must have women representation, regular election, in the village council. That because it's not happening so much, right? In our Dorbar Shnong, we talked about how the clans are dominating the position of Rangba Shnong. So if only one clan is getting it, it's not democratic, right? So this is why I feel like I would like to give them money, but right now maybe they are not ready for that. So what do you think about that?
Yes, I think solutions are there, strategies can be formulated for that, for all of that to happen, for the betterment of the Shnongs, for the localities, for everyone. And yes, there has to be a clearly defined, framework, clearly defined set of rules. You do this, you do that, and then, so that in a democratic process, despite the fact that democracy, even in our Dorbar Shnongs, is very, very much flawed, as it is around the world. But I think we can work around that.
And I think that is so important because, like you said, the Dorbar Shnong are here to stay. Now, but they also must become modernized, not lose the values, traditional values, the customary norms, but maybe change a little bit with time, right? Now, with that, I'll come to the last question. So, if there is, what are the key messages that you want the viewers to take when they read your book?
We have to put water first.
Okay.
We seldom realize, we seldom remember that water is a basic need. It's there on top of the list as a basic need. But we give it undue attention. We seldom think about it. It's this resource that just flows to us. We use it every day. We have to realize that it's very precious. Culturally, socially, economically. So we just have to put it first. And then other things can follow. If we ignore that, then there can be no social sustainability. Social sustainability will determine the kind of water provisioning, the kind of water quality that we have. And in turn, water will determine what kind of social sustainability we have in our city. And which in turn will determine what kind of urban sustainability that we have. Whether, we're transitioning towards a sustainable city or not. And if I can, Bokto, I'll just read one paragraph.
Yes, please.
For my conclusion part. Okay. At its core, social sustainability hinges upon the empowerment, inclusion, and well being of people. Recognizing the intrinsic link between social sustainability and water points to the interdependence that human societies and the hydrological cycle have. Beyond the technical aspects of water management, social sustainability emphasizes the broader social, cultural, and economic dimensions related to water use, allocation, and access. Thus, hydrosocial renewal is possible when people are placed at the center of water solutions. Hydrosocial renewal thrives when communities are empowered to co-create and co-manage urban water as a socio-natural entity. So that is the message I want to leave.
Thank you, Bankerlang, for this very wonderful interview that we had here today with you. And dear viewers, always, if you want to understand water governance and issues in Shillong, in which me and Bankerlang are currently staying, and I think many of you who are watching this interview also are from Shillong, so you can read this book, his book, Understanding Social Sustainability in a Hill Town, Water Governance in Shillong. And in the end, we'd like to thank also Kong Frida for this wonderful accommodation, this wonderful space she has given us, Sharilum, which is a homestay. And any of you who are coming to Shillong, please visit the place and please stay here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bankerlang.
Thank you.